I step into my bedroom and freeze. My heart stutters to a full stop, then lurches into a frantic rhythm. Giselle stands before my full-length mirror, her slender figure draped in ivory satin that catches the afternoon light streaming through my bedroom window. My wedding after-party dress. The one I spent 3 months searching for, the one that made James's eyes light up when I showed him the designer's sketch. My grandmother's diamond earrings dangle from her ears, catching prismatic light with every slight movement of her head. The heirlooms meant for me. The ones Grandma Rose promised would be mine on my wedding day. Giselle tilts her head, admiring her reflection, completely oblivious to my presence. The ivory satin cascades over her shoulders like it was made for her because it was made for me. "What are you doing with my wedding dress?" My voice barely rises above a whisper, but it carries enough force to make Giselle turn. Instead of guilt, her expression brightens. "Helena, perfect timing." She runs her hands down the fabric. "It looks better on me anyway." Mom agrees. The words hit me like a physical blow. Behind me, a floorboard creaks. I turn to find my parents hovering in the doorway, their expressions a mixture of discomfort and determination. They knew. Of course they knew. "Honey?" Mom steps forward, her voice taking on that placating tone I know too well. "You'll have the main wedding gown. Can't you share just this once?" Dad nods, waving his hand dismissively. "Your sister has always looked stunning in white." Their words unlock a flood of memories. Giselle borrowing my designer shoes for a date, returning them scuffed beyond repair. My vintage purse coming back with makeup stains embedded in the leather. The cashmere sweater I saved 3 paychecks to buy, stretched beyond recognition after her weekend trip. Family comes first. I'd told myself each time, swallowing my objections, burying my resentment. Last winter flashes before me. The outfit I'd carefully styled for Senator Graham's daughter, the client who could have launched my styling career into the stratosphere. Giselle borrowing the ensemble for just an hour before I delivered it. The red wine stain spreading across the custom jacket like a wound. "This is strike one," my boss had warned, eyes cold with professional disappointment. When I confronted my parents, their response was swift. "Accidents happen. She's your sister." I stand straighter now, shoulders pulling back. Something inside me shifts, like tectonic plates realigning after years of pressure. "Not this time." The words come out clear and steady. "Take it off." Silence fills the room, thick enough to choke on. Giselle's lips part in shock, her eyes widening with the unfamiliar sensation of being denied. "You can't be serious." She laughs, but it sounds hollow even to her ears. "Mom, tell her she's being ridiculous." Mom steps toward me, hands outstretched in supplication. "Helena, sweetie, there's no need for drama. Giselle just wants to feel special too." "Take it off," I repeat, my voice dropping lower. "Now, or I call off the wedding." The threat hangs in the air between us. Dad's face flushes crimson, but something in my expression stops whatever rebuke was forming on his lips. "Fine," Giselle spits the word. "I didn't want your stupid dress anyway." Her fingers fumble with the delicate zipper, her movements deliberately rough. I step forward and catch her wrist before she can damage the fabric. "The earrings too," I say quietly. With exaggerated care, she removes my grandmother's earrings, dropping them into my palm with enough force to make a statement. The diamonds burn cold against my skin. Later, after Giselle has flounced from my room in theatrical outrage, I hang the dress in my closet. My parents' cold glares follow me, promising consequences for this rebellion. I run my fingers over the smooth fabric, heart still pounding. For 27 years, I've stepped aside, made room, kept peace, the good daughter, the responsible one, the one who understands. Looking at my dress, I make a silent promise. Not anymore. They've taken enough. This wedding will be mine. And God help anyone who tries to steal another piece of me. The following day, James drops his notebook on our coffee table and rubs his temples. "So that's it? We've decided on the honey lavender cake with buttercream frosting?" I nod, leaning back into our sofa. After weeks of tastings and disagreements, we finally locked down the last major wedding decision. James reaches for my hand, his thumb tracing circles on my palm. 3 more weeks, Helena. Just 3 more weeks until you're Mrs. Helena Wells." The doorbell chimes before I can respond. I check my phone, no scheduled visits. James raises an eyebrow but rises to answer it. My parents' voices float from the entryway, my mother's rapid-fire questions about our new sofa slicing through the peaceful afternoon. They didn't call. They never call. They just appear, like unwelcome spirits summoned by wedding planning. "We brought the family wedding planner," Mom announces, swooping into our living room. She clutches a leather-bound binder that I've never seen before. Dad follows, his eyes darting around our apartment, mentally calculating what we paid for everything. "We've made some adjustments," Mom continues, spreading the binder across our coffee table, covering our own notes. "Just small tweaks to make everything perfect." James catches my eye as he settles beside me. His fingers find mine again, squeezing gently. Mom flips to a page labeled Bridal Party and points to a new notation I've never seen. "We've added Giselle as co-bride with a matching white gown and coordinating jewelry." Note. The room tilts sideways. "Co-bride?" James leans forward. "There's no such thing as a co-bride. It's our wedding." Mom waves her hand dismissively. "It's a new trend, very European." "It's not a trend," I say, my voice steadier than I feel. "And it's not happening." "And it's not happening." Dad clears his throat. "Helena, be reasonable. Your sister has been looking forward to this." "Looking forward to what? My wedding?" The words scrape my throat. "To sharing this special day," Mom corrects, her smile tightening at the corners. After they leave with promises to discuss this further, I sit at our laptop and check my email. Something feels wrong. I type "wedding" in the search bar and watch as dozens of exchanges between my mother and our venue appear emails where I was not copied. "James?" I call, my voice barely audible. "You need to see this." He reads over my shoulder, his breath catching. Special instructions to the venue coordinator about highlighting both sisters equally. Detailed arrangements for balanced photo opportunities. A request for 2 bridal suites. My phone buzzes with a notification. Giselle has tagged me in an Instagram post. My stomach clenches as I open it. There she stands in my after-party dress, now altered slightly, with the caption, "Final fitting for my wedding look, sister ceremony, double the brides." The comments flood with confused congratulations. "Didn't know you were engaged too. What's a sister ceremony? So cool you're both getting married." My phone rings, Aunt Catherine from Virginia. "Helena, honey, your mother just told me about this unusual sister ceremony. Is this something you really want?" The room spins as I try to explain that none of this was my idea. More calls follow. Family friends. Distant relatives. All confused, all asking the same question. Why am I making my sister a co-bride? When I confront my mother by phone, her voice drips with practiced martyrdom. "You've always been the strong one, Helena. Giselle needs this. She's been so depressed since that breakup last year." My father's voice cuts in on the extension. "We're paying for half this wedding. We have a say in how it unfolds." More calls, more pressure. Uncle Robert suggesting I be the bigger person. Cousin Samantha wondering if I'm being a bit selfish. Each conversation feels like water rising around my neck. Only Aunt Martha tells me the truth when she visits the next day, her voice low as she glances toward the door. "They've been planning this since you announced your engagement. Your mother had Giselle's dress ordered the same week you ordered yours." I press my hands against our kitchen counter, feeling the cool granite anchor me. "How do you know this?" "I overheard them at Christmas. Your mother said it would be easier to ask forgiveness than permission." Martha squeezes my arm. "I should have told you sooner." That evening, I visit Grandma Rose at her assisted living facility. Unlike my parents' sprawling house, her small apartment feels like a sanctuary. "This is your day, Helena," she says, her arthritic fingers covering mine. "No one else's, not your sister's, not your mother's." When I return home, James has spreadsheets open on our laptop. "We can pay for it ourselves," he says, without looking up. "I've run the numbers 3 ways. We can make it work." Sarah, my maid of honor, arrives with a bottle of wine and her legal pad. "I'm documenting everything," she announces, flipping to a detailed timeline of every boundary violation, in case things get ugly. My phone rings again, my boss this time. I almost let it go to voicemail, but something makes me answer. "Helena?" he says, his voice uncharacteristically gentle. "One of our clients mentioned your double wedding. Want to tell me what's happening?" I explain in halting sentences, expecting professional concern about how this might affect our business relationships. Instead, he surprises me. "Your sister cost us that Senator Graham campaign," he says flatly. "Don't let her cost you your wedding too." That night, my parents deliver their ultimatum via text. include Giselle as co-bride, or lose their financial support. The message contains thinly veiled reminders about Grandma Rose's care and how family reputation affects my professional standing. I stand at our bedroom window, staring at the city lights below. James wraps his arms around me from behind. "This isn't just about a dress anymore," I whisper. "This is about my entire life." 2 days after finding the messages, my phone screen illuminates with another notification. Giselle's tearful face fills the local morning show segment. All I wanted was to share in my sister's special day. The host nods sympathetically. "And she refused to let you wear the dress?" "She threatened to cancel the entire wedding." Giselle dabs at her eyes with a tissue. "After everything our family has done for her." I slam my coffee mug down so hard liquid sloshes onto my kitchen counter. The morning show host doesn't mention how Giselle tried on my dress without permission, how she's borrowed and ruined my things for 27 years, or how this wedding is supposed to be about James and me, not her. Within hours, share with sister trends on local social media. My cousin Denise texts, "Is it really such a big deal? Family should come first." My phone rings. Aunt Carol, who hasn't called me in 3 years. "Helena, I raised you better than this. Your mother is heartbroken." I grip the phone tighter. Did Mom mention she tried to make Giselle a co-bride? Don't be dramatic. She just wants both her daughters to shine. The doorbell rings. A delivery man hands me a stack of letters from my parents' church congregation. The top envelope, already opened, contains a handwritten note. "Honor thy father and mother." I drop the pile into the recycling bin. Monday morning at the studio, I arrange outfits for Valerie Torres, an influencer with 2 million followers. My concentration fractures with each phone vibration. 12 texts from Mom, 7 from Dad, 23 from Giselle. "Is everything okay?" Valerie asks, studying my face as I adjust her collar. "You seem distracted." "Everything's fine." I lie, pinning the hem of her dress. "I saw that news segment with your sister." Valerie tilts her head. "Wedding drama, right? My followers are talking about it." My hands freeze mid-pin. My private life, my professional space, the boundaries blurring like watercolors in rain. It's complicated. I manage. After Valerie leaves, Diana, my boss, calls me into her office. The morning segment plays silently on her computer screen. "This needs to stay out of the studio," she says, gesturing toward the footage. "Clients come to us for perfection, not family soap operas. Keep it together or take a leave of absence." I nod, throat tight. It won't be an issue. Tuesday evening, I drive to Grandmother Rose's cottage in Pasadena. The familiar scent of cinnamon and old books wraps around me as I step inside. Her walls display family photos spanning decades, including one of my mother and her sister at a wedding, standing uncomfortably apart. "You look exhausted, my dear." Grandmother Rose guides me to her worn floral sofa. The tears come without warning. "They're making me the villain." Giselle went on television. The church congregation sent letters. My boss threatened my job. She holds my hand, her skin paper thin but her grip surprisingly strong. "Your mother did the same to her sister." I look up, startled. "What?" "At Louise's wedding. Your mother wore white, insisted on standing next to the bride in photos, demanded matching flowers. When Louise objected, your grandpa sided with your mother." She sighs. "They haven't spoken in 30 years. I didn't know." "I need to. Some patterns need to be broken, dear. Someone has to be brave enough." She squeezes my fingers. "And you've always been the strong one." Grandmother Rose stands slowly, her knees creaking. "I have something that might help you." She leads me to her bedroom where a cedar chest sits at the foot of her bed. The hinges protest as she lifts the lid. Inside, beneath a crocheted blanket, lies a stack of legal documents. "What are these?" I ask, taking the folder she hands me. "Look at the house deed first." I scan the document, my eyes catching on my own name next to hers. "I'm a co-owner of your house?" She nods. "Since your 25th birthday." The next document shows the family trust. My name appears prominently as executor of my grandmother's estate. "Grandma, I don't understand." "I've been watching this happen for years," she says simply. "Your parents have always allowed Giselle to take what's yours. I wanted to make sure they couldn't take everything." The weight of what she's telling me settles on my shoulders. "You've been protecting me all this time. Now you can protect yourself." The next morning, I meet Tasha, a wedding planner not connected to my mother's social circle. Her office walls display photos of unique celebrations, none featuring matching sister gowns. "Tell me what you want," she says, emphasizing the word. For the first time since my engagement, someone asks what I want instead of telling me what I should accommodate. Security. I say immediately. People who will enforce the guest list and keep certain family members from disrupting things. Tasha doesn't blink. "We can arrange that." That afternoon, James's college roommate Marcus, now an IT security consultant, helps me change every password connected to our wedding. Vendor accounts, venue booking, photography portal. "Your family won't be able to make unauthorized changes," he promises, typing rapidly. "I've added two-factor authentication to everything." I call the venue directly, speaking with the manager instead of the coordinator my mother befriended. "I'm the bride, the only bride." I clarify. "Any changes must come directly from me or my fiancé. No exceptions." "Understood, Miss Carter. We'll update our files immediately." The satisfaction of reclaiming my wedding spreads through me like warmth after winter. I transfer funds from my savings account to cover my parents' portion of the costs. The confirmation email arrives with a finality that feels like freedom. That night, I sleep in our apartment with my phone turned off. No texts demanding explanations. No calls filled with guilt. No social media notifications about family loyalty. James finds me on the balcony the next morning, watching the sunrise with a cup of coffee. "You look different," he says, joining me. I feel different. For the first time in weeks, my shoulders don't carry the familiar tension. The knot in my stomach has loosened. I've spent my life trying to keep peace by giving pieces of myself away. Now I'm gathering those pieces back, one boundary at a time. Some might call it selfish. I call it survival. Later that week, after I thoroughly checked every part of the plan, I met my family for dinner. "It's time to begin." "You were right," I tell my mother, watching her shoulders relax as she serves another helping of pot roast. "Family should come first." The dining room falls into stunned silence. Dad's fork pauses halfway to his mouth. Giselle, sitting across from me, narrows her eyes in suspicion before a slow smile spreads across her face. "I knew you'd come around," Mom says, patting my hand. The diamond on her wedding band catches the light, reminding me of Grandma Rose's earrings. "We all want your wedding to be perfect." "For everyone," Dad adds pointedly, reaching for his wine glass. I nod, swallowing the bitter taste in my mouth. "Actually, I was thinking Giselle might want to try on the after-party dress one more time, for proper measurements." Giselle nearly knocks over her water glass. "Really?" "Really," I confirm, pulling my phone from my purse. "Maybe we could take some photos for the memory book." Later, as Giselle twirls in my bedroom, I snap photo after photo. The ivory satin flows around her ankles as she poses dramatically beside my dressing table. Mom hovers nearby, her smile triumphant. The earrings dangle from Giselle's ears, catching prismatic light with each movement. "These photos will be treasured forever," Mom says, squeezing my arm. I smile, clicking one final shot. Yes, they will. While they chatter about shoe options, I step into the hallway, thumb moving swiftly over my phone screen. The carefully crafted email sends with a quiet whoosh. My chest loosens for the first time in weeks. The next morning, my social media post goes live at precisely 8 a.m., when Dad starts his workday, and Mom checks her accounts over coffee. "A bride deserves respect," reads the caption. Below it, a gallery unfolds. My designer shoes before Giselle borrowed them, then after scuffed beyond repair. My vintage purse, once pristine, now stained with makeup. My cashmere sweater, stretched beyond recognition. And finally, Giselle wearing my wedding after-party dress, and grandmother's earrings. The comments flood in immediately. My professional colleagues rally with supportive messages and a hashtag that starts trending by noon. Bride not bullied. My phone begins vibrating non-stop. I silence it, sliding it into my desk drawer at work. My boss passes by, glancing at my computer screen where the post continues gathering momentum. "About time," she says simply, and walks away. By lunch, 3 wedding vendors have publicly confirmed they will only take instructions from the actual bride, Helena Carter. My mother has called 17 times. I send each call to voicemail. "What are you doing?" James asks when I arrive at the bank that afternoon. His voice holds no judgment, only curiosity. "Reclaiming what's mine," I answer, squeezing his hand before approaching the bank manager's desk. I spread the documentation across the polished surface: receipt copies, transfer records, email confirmations, evidence of every dollar I contributed to our wedding fund, which my parents conveniently control. These payments were made under false pretenses, I explained calmly. I'd like them refunded to this account instead. The manager reviews the paperwork, nodding slowly. Everything appears in order, Miss Carter. James watches in quiet amazement as the manager processes the transfers. 20 minutes later, we walk out with financial leverage eliminated. My parents can no longer threaten to withhold funds they no longer control. I record a brief message on my parents' answering machine. I've handled the payments. The wedding will proceed as James and I planned it. The dress disappearance is my final move. I know Giselle's schedule by heart. 27 years of accommodating her has its advantages. While she's at her hair appointment, I empty my closet of everything wedding-related. My phone buzzes with Giselle's name 30 minutes later. Where is it? Her voice trembles with rage. Mom and Dad are furious. I imagine they are. I fold the ivory dress carefully into an acid-free box at my grandmother's house, miles away from prying hands. You can't do this. Giselle shrieks. That dress looked better on me anyway. Some things aren't meant to be shared. I place Grandma Rose's earrings in their velvet case beside the dress, especially when they were never yours to begin with. I end the call amid her protests, powering off my phone completely. Grandmother watches from her armchair, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. They'll be livid, she says, not sounding troubled by the prospect. Let them be. I close the lid on the box, running my fingers over the smooth surface. They've had control of my narrative for 27 years. The wedding is mine. Grandmother nods, reaching for my hand. And so, finally, are you. On the wedding day, I arrive at the venue 3 hours before the ceremony to find chaos already brewing. Through the glass doors, I spot Mom gesturing dramatically to the venue coordinator while Dad waves what looks like our contract in the air. Giselle stands slightly behind them, draped in a white dress suspiciously similar to my wedding gown. We had an understanding about the sister ceremony. Mom insists, her voice carrying across the marble foyer. It's a family tradition. The venue coordinator looks baffled. Ma'am, there's nothing in our paperwork about 2 brides. It's a verbal agreement, Dad blusters. We could pursue legal action for breach of contract. I grip James's hand tighter as we watch through the window. His college roommates, our impromptu security team, stand at strategic points around the entrance, looking both professional and immovable in their suits. Ready? James asks, squeezing my fingers. I nod. More than ever. When we enter, Mom's face pales. Giselle's mouth forms a perfect O of surprise. They didn't expect me for another hour, plenty of time to rearrange my wedding. Miss Carter, the coordinator rushes over, relief washing across her face. Perhaps you can clarify? There is no sister ceremony, I say, loud enough for the small crowd of workers to hear. My parents and sister are confused. I turn to Marcus, James's former linebacker friend now working security. Please ensure they stay in the designated family area until the ceremony. They're not authorized to make changes to any arrangements. Dad's face flushes crimson. You can't. I can, I interrupt, my voice steady. And I am. 2 hours later, I stand in the bridal suite with Grandma Rose adjusting my veil. My wedding gown, the main one, not the reception dress, Giselle tried to claim, cascades around me in waves of delicate lace. You look magnificent, Grandma says, her fingers trembling slightly as she secures the veil with a vintage pearl pin. Strong. Sarah, my maid of honor, returns from scouting the ceremony space. Your parents got the message. They're sitting in the front row looking like they've swallowed lemons. She grins. And Giselle keeps trying to make her dress look more bridal by adding flowers from the centerpieces. I should feel nervous, but a strange calm has settled over me. Let's do this. The processional music swells as I take Grandma's arm. We planned this carefully, no father walking me down the aisle. Instead, the woman who showed me what real support means guides me toward my future. As we enter, I hear the celebrant's voice ring clear. Today we gather to witness the union of Helena and James only. She places deliberate emphasis on the final word, making several guests shift uncomfortably. Mom's smile looks brittle. Dad stares straight ahead. Giselle fidgets with her costume jewelry, a poor imitation of Grandma's diamonds currently nestled in my bridal suite safe. I lock eyes with James and never look away. His smile becomes my anchor as I glide past the family that tried to steal even this moment. The reception begins with delicious tension as I emerge from the bridal suite in my ivory satin after-party dress, the one from the ambush. Grandma's diamond earrings catch the chandelier light with every movement of my head. The symmetry feels perfect. You reclaimed it, Grandma whispers, adjusting one earring. Everything, I confirm. Giselle sits at the family table, her expression fluctuating between outrage and calculation. Mom's anger shows in her white-knuckled grip on her champagne glass. The photographer captures it all, immortalizing their displeasure alongside my joy. When it's time for toasts, I rise first. To those who truly support us and respect our boundaries, I say, raising my glass toward Grandma, then James, then Sarah. Notably absent from my gesture, the front family table. The party flows perfectly until I spot Giselle sidling toward the DJ booth. Mom follows close behind, whispering urgently to the wedding planner who shakes her head firmly. Special sister toast. I hear Mom insist. It's traditional. Before Giselle can grab the microphone, James's best man intercepts her with practiced ease. The bride's playlist is quite specific, he says pleasantly, steering her away. I cross the dance floor, stopping directly in front of my sister. Not today, I tell her quietly. Not ever again. Her eyes widen. For once, she seems to understand, I mean it. 20 minutes later, Dad corners me near the cake table. We need to talk. Now. I follow my parents into a small side room, where Mom immediately dissolves into tears. You've humiliated us in front of everyone we know. Dad hisses. You'll regret this public display. Mom dabs her eyes dramatically. After all we've done for you, the sacrifices, the support. I study them both, really look at them perhaps for the first time. Mom's tears that appear and vanish with strategic precision. Dad's authority that crumbles when challenged. Thank you, I say finally. They look startled. For what? Mom asks cautiously. For showing me exactly who you are. I straighten my grandmother's earrings. Now I know exactly who I need to be. And... Dad steps forward. If you walk out that door... You'll what? I ask. Take my car? My inheritance? My wedding dress? You've been taking pieces of me my entire life. There's nothing left for you to claim. I open the door, pausing in the threshold. Enjoy the cake. I picked chocolate because it was the only flavor Giselle hates. The reception continues without them. James finds me on the dance floor, pulling me close as we sway to our song. Over his shoulder, I watch my grandmother chatting happily with his parents, her diamonds catching the light with every laugh. Some jewelry isn't just decoration. Sometimes, it's armor. 6 months later, I stand in the bay window of our Connecticut living room, watching autumn leaves spiral across the lawn. 3 states and 800 miles now separate us from my family. The distance feels like oxygen. More coffee? James asks, patting across the hardwood floors in his weekend socks. Please. I accept the mug, inhaling the rich aroma. I was just thinking how quiet it is. No unexpected visits, no drama, no one borrowing my things. James settles beside me on the window seat. Your mother called again yesterday. I know. I curl my fingers around the warm ceramic. I'll call back next week. On my terms, with my boundaries in place. And if they push back? I shrug. Then the conversation ends. They're learning I mean what I say now. James kisses my temple. I'm proud of you. I can breathe here, I whisper, the simple truth of it still astonishing. Grandmother's silver Buick pulls into our driveway later that afternoon. Her move to the senior living community 10 minutes from our house was the best decision we made after the wedding. She settles at our kitchen table while I prepare tea. Her arthritis has worsened, but her eyes remain sharp as ever. I finalized everything with the attorney, she says, sliding a folder across the table. You're the executor now, and the primary beneficiary. The papers blur beneath my suddenly damp eyes. Grandma, you don't have to. You were the only one who saw them for what they were. Her weathered hand covers mine. This family has a pattern. Look. She opens a photo album I've never seen before. Pictures of my mother as a child, always stepping aside for her sister. My grandmother, young and resigned, surrendering her dreams to her brother's demands. 4 generations of doormats, she says with surprising frankness. Until you. 2 weeks later, I stand in my new styling studio downtown, arranging the magazine that features my wedding day look on the reception counter. My phone buzzes with a new client booking a television actress whose Instagram post about my boundary-setting bride style has brought an influx of business. What would make this moment perfect is knowing Giselle saw the latest issue of Style Quarterly, where her favorite influencer wears my signature accessory collection. I feel a satisfied smile spread across my face as I arrange the display. Creating, not accommodating. Building, not surrendering. The package arrives on a Tuesday. No return address, but I recognize my mother's handwriting. Inside lies my childhood diary, its purple cover faded. I flip through pages filled with my adolescent handwriting, documenting each borrowed item that never returned. A note falls from between the pages. Perhaps we should have listened. Not an apology, but acknowledgement. It's something. I place the diary on a bookshelf visible but not central. A chapter closed, not forgotten. Weeks later, Thanksgiving arrives with the scent of rosemary and warmth. Our dining table extends to welcome grandmother and the friends who stood with us through everything. Sarah arranges flowers while James carves the turkey. My phone rings in the study. My parents' number. "Do you need to get that?" Grandmother asks, knowing exactly who's calling. "Tomorrow," I decide, returning to the table. Today is for joy. Today is for joy. We raise glasses as James offers a toast. To chosen family and hard-earned peace. I look around at these people who love without conditions, who support without manipulation, and feel the rightness of this moment. Some things are worth keeping. Some things are worth sharing. And some things like your self-respect should never be given away. As we laugh and pass dishes, I wonder what stories others might share about drawing their own lines in the sand. What finally gave them the courage to say enough? Perhaps their journeys echo mine. The phone stops ringing. Tomorrow is soon enough.